Hello, how is it going? So, this is our case presentation about GAP, about the GPS Grow, Perform, Succeed. My name is Caden Alford.
I'm Caroline Branch, and our other group members are Charlie, Chase, and Caleb.
All right, perfect. So, the idea of this case assignment, case presentation was that Rob Allender Crane was in 2013, about early 2013, tasked with a new performance management system. He was supposed to design and implement something that could help innovate and establish creativity. And he kind of gave himself two questions on the backbone of how he would create this new management system. It was, could performance review process be easier? And then were employees engaged and driven? The GPS is what he created called Grow, Perform, Succeed. And what this did was it wanted to foster and improve employee performance and then reconstruct a bonus plan, which is going to get their employees more driven, so to speak. If they have something to work for that's a little bit higher than what they used to, then they will be a little bit more driven since the bonus plan now is in the new process going to be 75, 25, 75% focusing on the company's performance and then 25% focusing on individual performance. That's going to drive them to perform better. And then that way they can help out the company's performance as what this new management system is going to be. Now, the central issue for Rob Allender Crane, he got it implemented into San Francisco headquarters, but now he was looking at how am I going to expand GPS organization wide, company wide. He wanted to get it in store level and he wanted to get it everywhere around GAP. And so there's many different reasons or issues, so to speak, on how this could go so wrong. If it's not implemented correctly, then you have employees that are losing trust in leadership. They don't understand what's going on. It could result in a negative culture shift instead of a positive culture shift. Well, we're trying to establish a little bit here, especially with a new change. And a lot of times people are they're resistant to change, especially since, old ways they're so used to it. And you don't want anybody, especially with the new process, to be dissatisfied with their job. It's the whole culture shift. Now, hear me out. We got a lot of issue resolution. So we're going to go into solution one. And what this is improving and investing in manager training and feedback skills. Obviously, you want to train managers. That's a big backbone. Managers are going to help employees be driven more. And if you have them understanding what they're doing, especially in the bonus plan, they can relay that to the employees, help them drive and help them succeed a little bit better. Now, if you don't train your managers, then they're not going to understand this process, and especially if you don't train them well, they're going to revert back to the old system because it's easier, and more convenient, and it helps them kind of feel stable, so to speak. They're not having to worry about this whole new system, this whole new process. Training would help them with that, and it helps them understand why we are doing them. And if without training, it creates inconsistency. And hear me out with the feedback skills. If you're not giving if managers don't understand their own feedback from their superiors, then how are they going to be able to give feedback to their employees and then tell their employees or show their employees how they can accept their feedback? And that's where it all comes down to training your managers and helping them with their feedback control. Our second solution is being transparent with the employees, telling them why we are establishing this new bonus system, kind of to drive you a little bit. You're going to actually be paying more if you work hard instead of being the same consistent, boring, mundane bonus construction. And this new process is different because now you're taking away their bonuses a little bit. They feel like they have to work harder. the transparency part helps employees understand their role within the company. If they understand that, hey, I need to work harder in this sort of aspect, then the company does better. And if I'm helping the company, then yes, they're helping me out with my new bonus system, right? We get paid more the more you help. It affects the organization. And if you have these in touch based meetings, which in the case study, Allender Crane said that it was great. Their feedback skills improved, and they were able to kind of manage by objectives, setting goals, figuring out where the employee needs to go next or how to achieve that higher level, that second level, and just show how their performance affects their organization.
Here is the third solution. The third solution is recommending and implementing the GPS through a phased rollout using pilot stores before expanding company-wide through the country or at the entire corporation. Instead of immediately launching the GPS across all retail locations, the company would first introduce the system in a small, representative group of stores. Now, these pilot stores would fully implement the new bonus structure, goal setting process, and continuous feedback model. This is important to test everything before it is launched through the entire chain of stores because you have to make sure that it works. The purpose of this approach is to test how the GPS works in the real retail environment. Store operations are very different from headquarters. Employees deal with fluctuating customer traffic, sales pressure, and staffing challenges. By piloting the program first, leadership can then evaluate whether the system is practical, fair, and motivating at the store level. So they're going to be valuing and evaluating how high, low, or medium this function is in value, and if they should continue with this. Another key component for this solution is gathering employee and manager feedback during the pilot phase. Through surveys, meetings, and performance data, the company can identify concerns such as confusion around bonuses or resistance to increased feedback responsibilities. This allows leadership to adjust training, communication, or performance metrics before expanding the system. This is very good because they can change the training and adjust things so that it's easier for their employees to understand how things work and understand everything that's going on. This approach reduces risk because it prevents large-scale implementation problems. It also builds trust with employees because when employees see that leadership is testing the system and listening to their feedback, they are more likely to support the change.
We found the best way to resolve this issue would be to improve and invest in manager training and feedback skills. Some of the key points were managers decide if employees understand and trust the GPS. This is because at the end of the day, managers are the ones that employees usually deal with every single day. They explain goals, they give their feedback and answer questions about potential bonuses and even raises. Because of that, employees decide whether they trust the system based on how their manager uses it. If managers apply GPS differently, avoid hard conversations, or don't understand it themselves, the program will fail no matter how well HR designed it. The bottom line of this is if we have strong managers, then we will have a successful GPS. So, what good training improves for everyone, including managers and employees? So, for the managers, it helps set clear, realistic goals. Training gives managers the tools and the confidence needed for GPS. If you set goals, employees then will understand what they are working towards, which sometimes determines how hard they work towards the thing. Giving honest feedback and coaching, and explaining how performance connects to bonuses. If you hold regular meetings and feedback, it keeps communication and prevents surprises. Solutions, not just criticism. Employees always know where they stand. So why is this the best option? This option shows a strong result for both employees overall and the business outcome. For overall and employee outcome, it reduces confusion about pay and rewards. It makes the system feel fair. It builds trust in leadership. It increases motivation and performance. For the business outcome, it leads to stronger performance results, improves productivity. It helps the company compete better and protects the investment HR made in GPS. Overall, if managers improve, then everything improves.
Okay, so in conclusion, what I've learned from reading this case study is one that Rob Allender Crane is kind of a genius, really smart. It kind of helped me figure out, and not just implementing grow, perform, succeed, but just implementing any new process or any new type of change that I want to establish in my company. Say if I was a manager, then it kind of gives me the framework on how to do that. What did you think, Caroline?
One main thing I learned from this case was overall managers need to be well trained in anything they do. Because as I said, at the end of the day, managers are the ones who the employees deal with every single day, no matter what. And I really like how it says if managers improve, then everything improves. So, with that, if you have a great manager, you have a great culture and all for your company. So, the reference we had was just the case study, and thank you for your time.